my stuff. Some of this just needs to be heard. Like, it's been one of the biggest things that I've played around with in business, right? What's the right way? This was the topic at hand. I was sending somebody an audio. I'm still sending it to them right now, so they get this privately. But I wanted other people to hear this. There's nothing private about this particular thing that I'm saying. I'm like, there's so much good. And this has been the thing that I grew a business. I said the right way to do a business, right? What's the right way to do a business? There's a lot of people that got a method or a way or their way, and they're like, this is the way, right? And people who've struggled and done all these different things, and then they found their way, and then they do the same thing that other people did to them, which is this kind of black and white, literal way of looking at business, right? There's one way to do it. What's the right way? And so for me, one of the biggest things that's happened is that in coaching, I have done the work that I really love doing mainly in private. So there's a lot of people that have no idea what I do, who I do it with, how I do it. And I love just coaching people. That's it. That is the number one thing that I love to do, professionally speaking, is coach people. I say, when I hear you, I can help you. So I love hearing people's challenges and struggles and then be able to speak life into them and give them a personalized audio for them, a personalized experience for them, rather than this very, one size fits all approach. Like, there's just one way to do something, and the way that worked for me is obviously going to work for you. And it's just not true. And one of the things I was saying is that, why do we think that when it comes to food, to diet, to exercise, to clothing, to eyeglasses, to shoes, et cetera, that there are literally thousands of variations of eye prescriptions, of size of shoes, from what 0 to 19 to wide to narrow to all these different things. And I have a hard time finding shoes, by the way. I've got kind of a wide foot. A lot of shoes don't come in wide, so they don't feel very comfortable. So when I find some, I buy a bunch and I keep it. But like, this aspect that, why do we think that then in business, there's somehow these very formulaic step-by-step systems? And I think what I've found is, in all the studying that I've done, I mean, in the last probably couple of years, I've watched thousands and thousands and thousands of videos and podcasts that I've listened to, obsessing over and analyzing these different companies and these success stories from Joe Rogan and Tim Ferriss, and finding, what do they do? When do they do it? How are they doing it? When are they posting? Who are they posting it to? And trying to find these patterns. And what I find is that a lot of the people at the top, they weren't following any particular patterns or ways or specific things that they did. There's principles. I think that there's ways of thinking, but they didn't follow business blueprint, right? They didn't follow this exact step by step. There was this curve, there was this all over the place, there was winding roads, there was stops and starts, there was tears, there was anger, there was sadness, there was bankruptcies, there was difficulties, there was challenges, there was all sorts of different things. But there wasn't this, oh, I bought Johnny's $2,000 thing and I just followed it to a T. Now, do people buy a Johnny's $2,000, $5,000, or $10,000 program and succeed? They absolutely do. But what I find is there's a lot of people who sell things that, metaphorically speaking, let's relate it to shoes. They sell it for people who wear a size 8, metaphorically speaking, right? And if you're a 7.5, if you're an 8.5, if you're a 7, maybe a 9, you might be able to get in there. But if you're a 14 or 15, they're just going to keep telling you to try harder. And what I found is that when people, and a lot are suffering. I mean, I just a few years ago took an assessment through my buddy that measured self-esteem. And I was in a 19 out of 30. Excuse me, a 19 out of 100. Not a 19 out of 30. That would have been too bad. But a 19 out of 100. My self-esteem was in the crapper. In the last few years, my self-esteem has gone to like a 90 out of 100. Like, I'm not doubting my abilities to like help somebody. My self-esteem is very high, but a lot of people's self-esteem is really low. And so when you're looking out into the world and seeing what other people are saying and what you should do and how you should do it, and they have so much conviction, so much certainty that this is the way. And hell, you don't need a computer. You don't need anything. You just need to give them money and it'll spit money back at you. I mean, there's things out there that are like that. And when we're desperate and when we are lost and confused, we're looking for that silver bullet. We're looking for that thing that we can just do simply because we're so exhausted. I know for me that was a big thing over the last few years is there was a lot of just like, I had done a lot of things. I had tried a lot of things. And what's interesting is that in video production, I had reached high levels of success. But in coaching, I had a lot more people that I seeked support from than I did in video production. First of all, there weren't as many people in 2007 to seek support from easily. Now, I don't even need to, personally seek support from an individual, right? Because we can go on the internet and go on YouTube, go on TikTok, go on LinkedIn, go on any of these platforms and find tons of people giving their opinions, right? And so for me, the greatest success I personally have had in business is these kind of videos. Like doing this works, right, for me. This is my most natural habitat. I can hit this button and I can go boom, 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 right? And in success in my video production company, it's come from the things I didn't overthink, that I didn't overanalyze. I had an inspired thought, I took an action, an imperfect action, and I moved on. And what I found is the more time, energy, and effort we spend on something, and especially if we do not like the process or the journey of what we're doing, then the more we need the outcome to happen. So if you spend 9 months working on something and you didn't really enjoy the process or the journey of doing that thing, then by God, whatever the reason you were doing that you hope at the end of those 9 months you're going to get, you don't get, that hurts. That makes an imprint on your mind that will prevent you from taking an action like that in the future, because it hurts. The harder you work on something to not get an outcome or a result, especially when you're doing an activity you do not enjoy, the more it hurts when you don't get the outcome. And the problem is that a person moving fast might have to take 100 actions to get one great result. But if it takes you, and they might be able to do that in 6 months, but if it takes you 6 years to get that same amount of quantity of exposure and eyeballs on your thing, boy, if you've spent 6 years working on something and not have much success, that's going to really hurt, right? It's going to really feel bad. And I think there's a lot of people, and I know I was one of them. I've talked about this, being the MIA guy, man. I was massive imperfect action. Like I lived and breathed that. I thought it was like I embodied that. I thought I'm never going back. But the interesting thing is that the more life happened, and death and business didn't work out, and partnerships didn't work out, and all these things, the more what I call these now stove moments, they stacked in my brain psychologically, that then really caused me to get to a place where the person who just didn't know what the heck was right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, I had no goals or aspirations when I started my production company. Like I didn't think, oh, I'll work with these amazing people in the future and I'll make this kind of money and I'll do this and I'll do that, and had all these goals. And I didn't have any aspirations. I had a couple buddies and we freaking hung out, and we get $250 to work 8 hours sometimes, and had a blast, an absolute blast doing it. Now, you kind of got to live under a rock to not know all the different options and things that are available and all the different ways you can do business and finding the right way, right? There's lots of right ways, but what's going to work for you, right? Like right now, I mean, it's nicer today, but it was Arctic tundra outside. I was negative 18 wind chill here in Illinois just a few days ago, right? So if I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt and I go outside in negative 18-degree weather, is there anything wrong with shorts and a t-shirt? Well, no, there's nothing wrong with shorts and a t-shirt, but that is the wrong environment to you wear those shorts and t-shirt. Right? So I'm going to have some problems wearing shorts and a t-shirt and negative 18-degree wind chill, right? Simultaneously, right? If I wear what I should be wearing in the Arctic tundra, where it's like the Sahara Desert and it's super hot, then the same struggle is going to happen. That's not going to work well either. So there's nothing wrong with the clothes or the shirt or anything else. It's just not right for the situation. And so sometimes we're doing, quote unquote, the right things to quote unquote, potentially the wrong people. But we not know these things. And I think in business, what's happening is a lot of paralysis by analysis. I know that's what's happened to me because I've consumed so much, and every Tom, Dick, Harry, Sally, and Susie's got a different way and a different method of doing things. And a lot of them have a lot of conviction that this is the right way, that this is what you should do. Right? And when I look at my life, I did a lot of things that to the outside world didn't make sense. Very misunderstood. Right? And when I've ignored the naysayers and the other people, this doesn't mean, and there's a dance between, sometimes you're running in the opposite direction of the sunset and you're never going to get there no matter how hard you run. And you got to realize and have somebody turn around and go, it's right over there. And you're like, oh, okay. And then you get it, right? Because you're doing all the right things. You just a little shift. I've had lots of little shifts, but It's not about little shifts. It's about completely and entirely doing something that if you did not need money, you would not do ever. I love my wife. Do I want to see my wife like once a week or once a month or once every other year? No, I want to see my wife every single day. So when you're growing your business right now, does your business have more things that you hate and despise and you don't want to do ever again? Or does it have more? You have a little bit of that. Might have some of it here and there. Or does it have a lot where you're like, I don't really care if I get paid doing this or not. Like if I didn't need any money, like this is great. I'm doing the thing I love anyways. Right. And what I find is a lot of the people who are at top levels on YouTube and different things, they got there because there was more they liked than they didn't. There was more they were willing to do for free and just do it because they love it, regardless of whether anybody paid attention, regardless if anybody paid them. They just did it anyways. And when I look at my career and I take something in video production like the Same Day Edit, I did the majority between 2005 and 2010 for free because I couldn't figure out how to convince people to pay me for it. They paid me to do the normal stuff, but that I was like, man, I know when I do it, I love it. I know when people receive it, they love it, but I can't figure out how to give me money. I'm going to do it anyways. And that became the thing that my entire trajectory of my video career, like it was a game changer. Me making that decision to do this thing, regardless of people telling me I shouldn't do it. Oh, you're not paying. If they're not paying, you shouldn't do it. Oh, you're devaluing yourself. Yeah, well, I'm trying to value myself. I'm charging money for it. I can't seem to figure out how to get money for it, but I did it anyways. And so the one common thing that I have done is I have recorded audios to people. I've coached people in private. I have done that. When it's come to marketing my services, that's the challenge at times. Because for me, I'm very content if I've got somebody one-on-one on the phone, on Zoom, Voxer. I mean, I do all my work on Voxer right now because I love the freedom it gives me. And I feel like I'm a better coach asynchronously in this app called Voxer, being able to send these voice notes back and forth. I seek out all my coaches. If they're not on Voxer, I try to get them on there. And I have 2 myself right now that are on Voxer, but like it happens in private. So nobody else gets to see that. Whereas with my weddings, I used to get paid to do my job. And I didn't do it for this reason, but it happened. I got paid to do my job whilst I simultaneously got paid to market. See, when I did the thing called the Same Day Edit, the couple loved it. They wanted it. But then all their friends and family got to experience me all day. And then I showed that video and then I put it online. So thousands of people who didn't have to pay a dime for me to do my job got to see my work. That was a game changer. Again, I didn't do the Same Day Edit even for free at times because of the marketing from it. I did it because of how I felt when I did it. I loved it. It was exhilarating. It was amazing. And so all these years, regardless of what I've been getting paid to coach, I coach. It is a calling. It is in my DNA. I can't not do it, right? But when it's come to like marketing and creating content and doing all that online, even, and I guess potentially offline, but definitely online, there's so many things that I could take it or leave it. Like I don't consider myself a content creator. I don't love creating videos. I don't love creating content from a purely like be in isolation and create something. My wife can go into her office and work for 8 hours alone. And she's totally fine with that. And I know a lot of YouTubers who by and large, I mean, they can say they have their community and people like on the comments and things, but they by and large do their creation process in isolation. I am a person. This is why I'm live streaming right now. The way I'm wired and the way I think, the way I operate, I don't know how many people are going to stand there the whole time I talk. I'm sending this because part of this message was going to a private client. I knew that she wanted to hear all what I had to say here and was benefiting from it. But I'm trying to play with this ability to record some of this. And then, yeah, there's stuff like Opus Clip, like Felix, what's up, my brother? God dang, there he is. Yeah, and I think that's the thing too. All the content we could want, but then there becomes a whole thing there. Like, what stuff is just like me going, write me a blog post. Well, I personally go, who gives a shit? Like, I mean, if it's good, I guess it's good. But I think that that's where humans, it's going to matter more than ever. The connection to an individual, right? We're going to want to connect with people because we're not going to know what we can trust and not trust on the internet. And we're not going to know, like, yeah, did ChatGPT just create this, or is this coming from, because, you know, what I found is it's back to that one size fits all versus what size fits you. What works for a human in real life versus what works for a robot is completely different things, right? But yeah, everybody, we're drowning in information. We're drowning in content. We're drowning in how-tos. We're drowning in what to, you know, how we could do it. And what I find is that the biggest thing that gives me meaning and purpose is, like, I love to be able to speak life into others, right? Like, every time I can get on this, or I get in private, or I get on, if I'm with somebody, if I'm talking to someone, what I notice after a decade plus of hearing it is that when people get done interacting with me, they feel better than they did before the interaction. I've had so many people even recently that have said, oh, I wouldn't be where I am without you. And I'm like, you know, it's been years since maybe we've even interacted. And I said, well, what did I say or do that helped? And they can't remember anything I said or did specifically. They just know how I made them feel. Well, that's effortless for me. And I love doing that. I can get on here and do this right now. And I could do this to some degree all the time. But when I obsess over, oh, but if I don't have the right title, if I don't have the right intro, if I don't have the right thumbnail, if I don't have the right blank, 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 then it won't work. I don't know how many of you have been paying any attention to a guy named Rick Rubin, but I don't even know how to describe him, but if you haven't seen him, just go look up Rick Rubin. He's got like this beard. He looks like a Buddhist monk, like bum on the side of the road type of guy, but he's got some great stuff. And I've had a lot of people say that he reminds me of them, or vice versa. We have a lot of the same thoughts. And I think the thing is that the paradox, the challenge that people are running into is that there are people out there who really do not care what activities they're spending their time doing. They really don't care. Whatever, they might be like, whatever makes the most money, I'll do it. They do not care what that is. And they can do that. And I think a lot of the people that I work with or attract, they care a lot more about what they're doing and who they're doing it with than they do necessarily the outcome. They want the outcomes, but they want the journey to be something they enjoy doing. But at times we'll put ourselves through turmoil, hell, and everything else on earth because we say we want the outcome, because people have made us believe that the outcome will then give us the ability to spend our time doing the thing that we don't know how to make any money with or whatever, but it's the thing we really want to spend our time doing. And so there's this dance between, we have this art we want to create, but we don't feel that the art in and of itself maybe is good for commerce or it's good for making money. But the thing is that if the stars haven't aligned for you, where you're a person who either, one, doesn't care what it is that you're doing. Exactly, Felix. That's right, brother, man. Told me it's not about the destination, it's the journey. Because if you don't like the journey at all, how do you ever plan on getting to a destination, right? It's very challenging. And so what happens, I'm observing, is that there are people who all the little stars align for them, and they like doing things that happen to connect with something that can make a lot of money. And then other people are into things that may not make as much money. I think most people, not all, there's always an asterisk to fine print, but a lot of people are into things that could probably make anywhere from, 60, 70 to 150, maybe $200,000. Like their natural tendencies. There's a way without them having to get too far into other things that they could get into those realms of money. But if I gave you a choice right now and told you nothing but this one thing, and this is not to be taken literally, but let's just play the exercise for a second. I give you two options. Option A, you will max out at $100,000 and you will never be able to generate more than $100,000 a year. Option A. Option B, you'll have the ability to earn $1 million a year and you will cap at $1 million a year. You'll never be able to make more than $1 million a year. Now, that's the only information right now. Would you choose option A Or do you choose option B? Right? Choose option A, you max out at 100 grand. Choose option B, you max out at $1 million. Right? This not be taken literally. Anything is possible. I truly believe that in my life now. But just for exercise standpoint, to go through a thought experiment, right? I would bet you that with only that information, most people would go, why on earth would I cap myself at 100 grand? Right? Why would I stop and limit myself to 100 grand? And somebody say, why would I limit myself to $1 million? I'm just saying these are your two options right now. A, B, 100,000, million, no other information. Which do you choose? Right? Yeah. See, he's already saying depends on if I hate B, right? There's no other information right now. So he's already like, I don't know if I would choose B because what happens if I don't like it? Right? Well, a lot of us, and I know that I've been one of them, are choosing option B, the 20,000 a month, the 30,000 a month, the 50,000 a month, the 100,000 a month, scale to the moon, put all these people together. I don't know who you follow on YouTube, but I made a folder on my computer and I probably got freaking 20, 30 people that are either quitting YouTube or downsizing the YouTube channels because they're not wired like the Grant Cardones and Gary Vaynerchuk's and these people who they ain't slowing down. They love the chaos. They love the 100 miles an hour. They love the tons of employees, the big businesses. They're built for it. They're absolutely positively built for it. That's why they are not slowing down. I've paid attention to Gary since like 2009. The dude's not slowing down, right? Because he's in his element. He's in his sweet spot. And it just so happens to be something that can make an enormous amount of money. But what I'm seeing people, and I've got a guy, buddy of mine, just freaking worked with him for a number of years on and off, won an Emmy. This guy wanted, I found out this is where my encouragement came. This was be my thing for you. And this is the paradox that we live in. I made a quote. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Let me see real quick. I had a quote yesterday, a couple days ago. And I was like, I said, it doesn't matter if it's better. If I won't do it, it won't work. So it doesn't matter if it'll make more money. If you won't do it, it won't work. And I don't mean do it for a few weeks or a few months sometimes, but potentially years, right? Because most things that you buy into aren't going to get the result in freaking 2 weeks. They're just not. And so what I found is this guy who won the Emmy, when I got down to brass tacks, which is what I'm always working with people, which is why it's unfortunately at times, because it'd probably be easier for me to market sometimes, just go work for other companies that have people like a coach, because I just love coaching. That is the main thing that I absolutely love doing. I just love coaching people. And so here's the thing. In 2012, this guy attempted to start a company. And he was into editing. Loved editing. Now, here's the problem. He got convinced by other people that you got to have a production company, a full-blown production company. So you can shoot, you can edit, you can sell the jobs, you got the whole slew of things you can do. But you also get to edit. But you can make a lot more money with a production company, because now, I mean, you can get other people to go do these jobs. I mean, it's limitless, the opportunity that can come if you had the option to just be an editor or just run an entire production company. The production company has more opportunity. So between 2012 and 2019, this particular person, never made more than $10,000 to $15,000 a year on the side trying to run an entire production company, and kept his job the whole time. Now, in my earlier career, I helped people do what they said they wanted to do. Meaning, in the video realm, if people tell me that they want to shoot more weddings, get more weddings, then I would help them shoot and get more weddings. I wouldn't ask any other questions. I would simply help them do what they said they supposedly want to do. Okay, great. Well, that's what a lot of people do. Like, a lot of people want more time freedom, financial freedom, and want, more money. And they want to do what they want to do, but at times they're willing to potentially act like they're willing to sacrifice maybe what they really want to go after this other path that they can then create the income. They can tie it back so that they can do the thing that they want to do. And again, if you're not the person who doesn't give a crap about what you're doing, then it gets very difficult to go through everything it'll take to get to that thing, to get to the outcome of it, so you can get back to doing the thing that you want to do. And so finally, later in my career, and it's what I do now, I always want to ask people, well, would you do that if you didn't need money? Because there's things we've got to do that we may say, well, I wouldn't do that if I don't have to. But like, How many things are like that? So when you look at that, and I asked, what would you do if you didn't need money? And I always seem to ask this question and give a whole variety of answers. Let's take wedding videography for a second. I could ask 10 people, if they didn't need money, would they shoot wedding videos? And I will have absolutely, I freaking love them. And they're so excited about weddings. They're just, I love them. Right? All the way down to absolutely not. I would never do that again. I hate them. Right? 9 times out of 10, the person who says, I hate it, if they don't already have success and they grew to hate it, they definitely are struggling in their business. 100%. They're not having much success because in the back of your head, there's always something else is going to work out. So I don't have to do this. But if you've somehow been convinced that that's the path, like I've seen a lot of people who have thought wedding videos are the path, like they're the first thing that you should do on your way to doing other things you may want to do in video. And some people that it works for, and they're kind of indifferent. Sometimes I find it's better to be neutral and indifferent than it is to have a visceral feeling in one direction or another. Like if you're going to have a direction that's visceral, it better be positive, because if it's freaking negative and that ain't driving you forward, like when people told me, if you don't go to college, you won't succeed. I wouldn't say that was like a positive thing being told to me, but I used it as fuel to move forward in a positive direction, right? But to the degree you hate doing something and you don't want to do it, it's going to be really hard to use that fuel to be like, wow, but I'm going to do this thing for the next however long it takes to do it to get to what I want. Like a lot of creatives and artists that I've run around, they don't have that kind of personality. And so therefore they're never going to get it to work. And so when I hear people say, this is what I love, this is what I want to do, but whatever comes after that, but I know is what's holding them back from getting what they want. I've seen it over and over and over again. The people who can describe visceral detail what they love and what they want, but they've convinced themselves, I've done this. I am not perfect. I'm tired of trying to come on here too and act like, I don't have any problems or I don't have any challenges and I got everything figured out and I'm better than all of you. It's like, I never really feel like I've thought that about, I'm better than you, but there's been this like, I got to make sure all my shit's together and I'm rocking and rolling. It's like, no, I'm freaking great at helping people. But it's like a brain surgeon can't do his own brain surgery. Like at times I still need my medicine. And I say medicine, like I need what I give to others to help them. I need to receive that and find great people to support me sometimes when I get a little off kilter. Right. So what I see is that this particular person, once I found out and asked the question and they said, I would have this home editing base and I would just edit. And I'd have these multiple monitors and things. The reality is that's all I could latch onto for that person. That's all I could help them achieve. Because I felt in my heart that if they went after that, that would be their greatest chance of success. Because what tends to happen that I see is the people who are pursuing the $1 million option over the one that may not make as much money. Neither the one that'll make a lot of money or the one that would make less are doing well. And typically the one that could make a lot more, they're not happy doing, and it's not making much money. It's not even making as much money as the lower things cap is, right? And then they're not even doing the thing that they love that much. So they're just in this, predicament that's a conundrum that's like, okay, well, this is supposed to be making more money, but I'm not even really happy doing it. It's not making that much money. I don't even get to spend that much time doing the thing that I love, even though it supposedly would make less money. And then what I see with people is that when they pursue the thing that would make less money, if that just happens to be the thing that you're aligned with, that it makes way more money than it's ever made before, and it makes way more money than the thing that should make more money. I hope you're following that. Sounds a little crazy, but in my head, it makes sense. And I've seen it play out over and over and over again. I've seen people join $10,000 programs, pursuing that program that should give them passive revenue and yada, yada, yada. And 8-9 months in, they don't make much money. And then they go after the thing that they really want and they explode, right? And that's what I'm leaning back into. But a lot of us, we're not lacking the intellectual, the knowledge to do any of this. What I've found and what I'm obsessed with is a lot of people can understand this. But then there's habitual patterns in the subconscious that is sabotaging you each and every single day. And so there's the intellect, I know better than this. And then there's what your autopilot default programming is going to have you actually do, which is giving you the actual results in your life that are probably not what you actually want. So for me, I know that just getting on here and doing what I'm doing right now is the better thing to do, right? For me, not for everybody. Because for other people, spending time preparing and coming up with bullet points and all this stuff, and then having a layout or an outline, and then speaking for 30 minutes and being very clear and only 2 minutes on each point. That's how they'll do it. And that will be a million times better them doing that way than trying to do this way. And the same thing in reverse order. When I try to do that, I'm not saying it is horrible. I might be more clear at times, but I won't do it. I have tried over and over again for probably 16 years to attempt to do things these other supposed better ways, right? That work for other people. And over again, I come back to those are size 8. I wear a 12. It doesn't fit me. It doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean they're liars. It doesn't mean they're manipulative. Doesn't mean it's negative. That method doesn't work for me, right? And so you got to experiment. You got to explore, but you can't let people shame and guilt you into believing that, like, for me, I can't really read very well the screen right now. It's not that far away from me, but I can't read the screen very well, right? Took my glasses off. I need to wear glasses. It is a necessity for me. But if I have such low self-esteem and self-worth that somebody outside of me tells me that I don't need to wear glasses, and I'm like, well, it's pretty fuzzy. I mean, look, I'm already trying to like grab the glasses. Like, it's pretty fuzzy. I can't see. And they're like, I'm telling you, you just need to try a little harder. The more you work at it, the clearer it's going to get. And it's like, I've looked up that study. There is some truth to that. And most fail and just make their life 100 times more difficult. And it's technically almost even more expensive because you got to buy different sets of glasses and you got to train the, like, I mean, if you're into that, then go for it. But like, I know life's going to be challenging as it is. If I'm actually a fish, then I should stay in the water. It's going to be challenging. Might I be able to, over time, become a bird that can fly? Sure, maybe. But that's going to be 1,000 times more difficult than just getting in the water, right? Go collaborate with people who can fly. If you just happen to be a fish, whatever that version of that is. And that's what I find is, like, I can get some help to go do some other things that may or may not need to be done that could be helpful to me. But I'm going to be better recording 1,000 of these that have random titles at times and random intros. And even though I can do stuff to improve them, but if it holds me back from doing it entirely, then it doesn't matter. I feel more fulfilled doing the dang gone thing than not doing it at all. What is that thing for you? I know people who, they haven't played the flute in 4 years. And the reality is, when they finally take that doggone flute out and start playing, they feel better. Right? When I try to make this into some kind of commerce, business, structured, right way that I'm supposed to get on here and record and talk and speak and this and that, I hate it. It's not enjoyable. And so what do? I don't do it for freaking, I've done one other one this week so far. And I don't think I had done a live. See if I hadn't posted hardly any content since, let me see here. See on Facebook, where's that? I just out of curiosity, see if I can find it real quick. Videos. Okay, here we go. There we go. So that one. So I did one 2 weeks ago, little quick 6-minute one. I did an hour 2 days ago. We're at 33 minutes so far today. Prior to that, 27 weeks ago, 20 seconds. Prior to that, 28 weeks ago, I did something, I think it was last summer. I think that was June or July. So when I start to believe, oh, well, it's pointless to do it the way that I'm doing it, yada, 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 what happens? You don't do anything for July, August, September, October, November, December, 6 months. And if I go prior to that, I did that for a little bit. I did a chunk of those. I did a few other ones. And then it's like a year plus. And not much. Right? Huge gap. When what I've realized is that this is fun. Like, I like doing this. But my intellectual brain versus what my subconscious is trying to say, because we're all being indoctrinated all day, every day. Everything you consume, everything, including this video, every single thing you consume all day, every day. Podcasts, music, TV, newspapers, social media, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn, your wife, your boyfriend, your husband, your grandma, your grandpa, your best friend, anybody and everybody and everything that is happening is affecting you to some degree. It is shaping you to some degree. And so for me, just my career alone for a decade had me around people who had right ways of doing business at times. This is the way. They were very convincing. So for a decade, I am not only asking people like this advice, I'm filming these events and being at 3 and 4 and 5 to 8 and 10 hour events that I'm getting indoctrinated and having these things being fed into me. Then you can go on the internet and watch endless amounts of content of this person made $50,000 in 5 days, and this person did this, and this person's got a faceless YouTube channel, and this person's got a course and a program and an 8-week thing and a PDF. And here you can make a recurring newsletter and just have it for 7 days a week. And like it is endless. How many different ways that you can do something. And do these ways work? You bet your god dang bottom dollar they work. They work for someone. And that someone can have an S, it can have a plural. Someone's get it to work, but not everyone. I believe everyone can speak for someone, but someone cannot speak for everyone. And there's a lot of someone speaking for everyone, i.e., this is true for them, it's true for everybody. I say fact versus fiction. You have to analyze what's truly fact. Not much. I mean, I haven't looked up too many quite yet. Probably should sometime. But to me, facts are like gravity. Affects everyone. If it don't affect everyone, then it's true for someone. This may be factual in your life right now. This may be true. Something, whatever that is. You may have a blue car, right? That's a fact. I have a blue car, right? But not everybody has blue cars, right? So it's not like a truth. It's true for everybody on the earth, right? And that's what I find is a lot of people speak with that certainty and conviction, very factual, like this is true for everyone. This works for everyone. I mean, being involved in things behind the scenes or filming for people where the marketing is about setting things up. See, I appreciate that, Juanita, so much. I appreciate that. That's exactly, I need that. I need that little comment. She says, I've missed you and your honesty. It's good to see you back. Because I'm trying to remind myself, I'm reprogramming. And I think that's part of probably the thing I want to put out here, reprogramming live with all of you. We've got it, I've told the story of the backwards bike. And to me, it's everything. Because it shows you that your struggles in life are not intellectual. Sometimes they are. Sometimes it's pure ignorance. And that little tweak is all. It's not psychological. It's nothing. It's like the running in the opposite direction of the sunset. Just turn around and you're going to find it, right? You're doing all the right things. Sometimes that's all that's needed. But I find a lot of people right now, it's not just, sometimes it's that in addition to the mental game, but a lot of times it's not intellectual. There is an abundance of information. You yourself listening to this right now have probably bought plenty of courses and programs and systems and frameworks and templates and God knows what else to attempt to, have greater success in your business or your life, right? So you're not, and you've probably consumed a third of it. Some of it you probably never even opened. It is what it is. But the backwards bike, it takes less than probably 20 seconds to explain how it works, right? You get on this bike. It looks like a normal bike in every way, shape, and form. When you just look at it, you'd never know there's anything different about it. It looks like a normal bike. It rides like a normal bike, except for when you go left, when you turn left, it goes right. When you turn right, it goes left. That is the only difference. Okay. So that's all you need to know. And the guy who did this test would offer $250 for people to ride this bike. And no one could do it. No one could do it. Was it because it was an intellectual issue? They didn't know how the bike worked? No. The son, who was 6 years old, had been riding a normal bike for 3 years. He could ride the backwards bike within a matter of weeks. That's how fast of daily practice he could reprogram his mind for his brain to know this isn't what this does. This is what this does. The dad who did the test took 9 months of daily practice before he could ride the backwards bike. And he had to get on the bike to ride the bike and practice, but he had to fall down over and 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 over again for 9 months before his brain clicked over and said, oh, that's what this thing does. It's not what we thought it was or what it's supposed to be. It does this other thing. And there's no amount of simply only visualizing or thinking or reading or watching that will allow us to reprogram our mind to the best of my knowledge and all I've studied. The last 6 letters in attraction are action, right? So for me, what it tells me is that a lot of people's challenges aren't intellectual. They bought the courses. They know what they maybe even would like to do, what would be ways that might work for them, et cetera, et cetera. But they've lost their inner guidance system and they've programmed their mind to be so lost and so confused that essentially they keep trying to put the 14 foot into the size 8 shoe. They keep trying to take their glasses off and go, well, they've kept telling me I don't need to wear glasses. I mean, it looks fuzzy, but I don't know. I must be a moron. And I go, no, you're not. They just don't understand. And I don't even think that people are trying to be mean or deceptive or anything else. I just think it's pure ignorance because I had it as well. Just pure ignorance. And so what we have to think about is that what does that say about why we know certain things yet keep doing the things that aren't helpful or aren't working? Well, we try to find more information to tell us that, when in fact, what I've found, we've got to have the encouragement to get somebody to become aware of these things and start practicing. So for me, I'm aware this is the better way for me to do things. When it comes to content and creation, just boom, click this on and do my thing, right? And then I can make some calls to action. Hey, one of the things I'm playing with, which I need to start saying because that's also the pattern. I did stuff like this in the past, but business-wise, it didn't do as well. But that's because I wasn't clear about my offer. I wasn't clear about what I was doing, how I was helping, what I should sell. So I would do all this, and at times my brain could connect. Well, this didn't make you money. Well, it didn't make you money because you didn't make offers. Nobody knew what you did. Like I've been on here for 40 minutes, and not one time have I mentioned yet, ironically, what I do or how I do it or how you could work with me, right? So how the heck are you might just think, this guy's a real nice guy. He just gets online and just rambles off. It feels good. It's very encouraging. Got some insightful stuff on with my life, right? But what I do is I work with people in private all the time. I have this, can't really show it because I don't want to, let me go into my own thread. This app Voxer. So this is my own private thread. That's where I work with people every day in private. Because some people, they don't really want to share their whole stories publicly. They don't want to be on camera publicly. I work on a lot of kind of private matters and things. And so, because I find the more personalized I can be, the better the results, the faster results are. Because you're off doing your thing, and then people speak to me with a stream of consciousness, because we record audios back and forth. And I can pick up on things that they're not aware of yet. If you're not aware of these things, you can't do anything differently. You can't start to catch it. I find that I got to remind people more that I got to teach them new things. I've had people who are negative for like 5 straight months. They're pessimistic. They're negative. The glass is always half empty. And by me constantly have them telling me something that happened, seeing it through a negative lens, and then be able to shift their perspective. It's really difficult for a person who primarily is seeing things negatively to know what a positive perspective that would be. You can watch the YouTube videos and go, you just need to flip it. Well, that might be possible. Maybe you can just look at your journal and go, here's all the negative things. That was easy to write. Let me just flip them over, right? For some people, that might actually be challenging to figure out what the flip is, right? And I find that for me, doing things solely alone is also challenging. It's nice to do things with people. And so that's what I do every day, more or less 5, sometimes 7 days a week. I am hearing people's stream of consciousness, hearing it, and you don't have to. It's a safe, non-shameful, non-judgment free, place where 99% of the time people do not ask me questions. I simply hear them speak about what is going on, and I help them see their life, their situation through a different lens, and help them find what shoe might fit you, right? That's what I'm doing. And so if you're interested in that, send me a private message. I'd love to give you a little taste of it in Voxer. But one of the things that I'm playing with, I got to record the video for it. If anybody's interested, send me a message because I'll send you the ability to do the software and maybe it'll kick my ass in gear to do it. But one of the things that I'm wanting to play with is what I'm calling, I love when there's interaction. That's why I do it live. Doing this for 45 minutes is like, if I was by myself right now, no live stream, no interaction whatsoever, I would have been off of here 40 minutes ago. I just do not enjoy doing that. I would much rather create in connection or collaboration than create in isolation. I love my alone time. Don't get me wrong. But so here's the thing that I'm wanting to do. I'm going to start pushing something out there that I'm calling the mission that I want to have is hope. And hope for me is help one person every day. What I want, and I've got the setup, it's almost ready. Let me see if I can, let me grab this real quick. There's corny videos on here right now, so they're not accurate, but I just want to at least share the link so people can see. So what I'm gonna have the ability to do is people to just submit. Did that only submit on? Hold on, let's see. Did that go on? Oh yeah, okay, it went there. Okay, I think I just posted it twice. Okay, so it's a video ask link, and what I'm gonna have people do is tell me where you're at, where you want to be, and why you're struggling. Why do you think you're struggling right now? And I give roughly, I have like a 5-minute limit, and then I have another like 90 seconds. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating content from that, where I hear somebody's story. Now I'm going to keep all of your side private, 100% private, but you're going to get a personalized, private, like your own little private podcast feed, because I always say, when I hear you, I can help you. And so for me, that 5 to 6, 7 minutes that I hear, I'll be able to send back 10, 15, 20 minutes and just give you something that will really boost your spirits, give you some relief, encourage you, help you move forward if you've been stuck. That's the first step in the process of working with me as well, but that's absolutely free. The next step, I do what I call a jumpstart week, and it's in this Voxer. And I do that for a week with people, and then I go on to a 3-month and then a year from there, and we just keep kind of tearing up. But I'm wanting to do the hope method, where my goal is to just always be able to release one of these a day. I might record a bunch in a day, but release one every day, help one person every day. And I believe in the next, 5, 10, 20 years, I could have recorded like 10,000 of these potentially, where I will have heard 5 to 7 minutes of someone's story and been able to speak back to them. Now, some of them, that might be it. It may never go beyond that one single interaction. But I feel that it's something that I could do indefinitely. And the nice thing is, people don't have to ask me questions, because it's not about, how do I do this? I always need context, but somebody's story about where they are, where they'd like to be, and what they think is holding them stuck will give me everything I need to be able to at least get started, jump starting someone. I appreciate that, Felix, my man. Juanita, if you're talking about, I don't know if it's showing up. I'll put it on the screen here. Let's see, it'll pop up. So that's the link that takes you like straight. I haven't recorded, like, you're going to see a goofy video on there. But I'm practicing getting on here again, because this has felt really, 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 really good to just do this. This is me, right? This is what I can do all the time. And then beyond that, I love coaching people. So it's going to be having calls to action so that people can reach out and interact with me in the audio form. I don't do synchronous calls. I don't get on Zoom calls. I don't like Zoom calls. I don't do any of that. And then maybe in the future, I'm going to hold some in-person stuff again a couple times a year, because I love that. But I love asynchronous. I love my freedom. I value my freedom and my time with my wife and my puppies more than I value anything else on this planet. So I have been able, this is my 6th, all of 2019, 20, 2021, 2022, 2023, I have coached upwards of 2 to 3 hours, sometimes 5 or 6 a day, 5 days a week, for 5 years. This is going on my 6th year of using Voxer as pretty much my primary way of working with people and coaching people. And I was just bawling my eyes out a couple of days ago with my coach. And I've had a couple great people that I've been able to work with, and I've gotten to see what it's like to be on the receiving end of what I do, because I know what it's like to give my messages. I know what it's like to hear people be grateful, but not for me to be the receiver. And I know that just the ability for a person to feel safe to express themselves, some people have suppressed themselves for so long that it's causing pain mentally, physically, emotionally. It's causing pain because they have not felt safe with anyone in their life to share and express themselves about where they are, and what their dreams and ambitions are. And so I'm doing my best to create a method where people can at least submit 5 to 7 minutes. I can hear that and I can respond. I can't do that over and over and over again with an individual. This is a way for me to give back, provide hope, be hope, do hope, hope, help one person every day. It's been there behind me for years. But yeah, it's a way that I can at least quote unquote touch a lot of individuals, because I can get on and do these kinds of things like this, and I love it. And I think as more people become aware, I love doing some lives from time to time for sure. But it's really great when I get to hear someone and speak to someone, and versus me committing to showing up at a particular time every day of the week and things like that. I'm gonna play with going live spontaneously and doing that. It's been fun today. There's been some great people on, some old names, Juanita and Felix and you know, Aris and Jeremy. I appreciate y'all so much for being on here. And anybody else. I'm streaming in a few places. I think my Facebook personal page, my fan page, my YouTube channel. And I'm gonna have some stuff that's gonna make snippets and shorts from these types of things, but it's fun. It was just, it felt good to get back to the OG times, just get on here and speak, freaks from the soul, speak from the heart. Um, it's me. It's me. But I've been playing around with other ways that I can not have to. I used to do something called jumpstart sessions, and I have loved doing the asynchronous stuff. I've loved using Voxer, and I've been trying to figure out, there's so much gold that happens in there and so much magic, but it's gotten lost, like, out for anybody else to benefit. Cause there's things, and my clients even say it, like, there's stuff I say that could be heard by anybody and support them. So I do hours a day where it's just all in private. And I want to keep my clients private. The more they're able to feel safe to share, the better. But I've been wanting to be able to do something that I can do more regularly. Now, the biggest thing will be to get people, raise awareness. So I'm getting the audios, and then basically the two things that would be a dream for me is that there's always some of these audios sitting there, and I can sit here and listen. And then when I get done listening, I can fire this up and I can record my response. They can get it, and then other people can benefit as well. I will always keep the names and everything of the people private. I won't hear their side of the story. But that's going to allow me day by day by day by day by day to speak life and encouragement into an individual, and yet also have people benefit from that who may never submit to me, who may never work with me, who may never have the money to work with me. It can still benefit them as well, because I've felt like I have been missing out on that part. I know that there's people who've benefited from me who I've never once spoken to, who've only lurked on my videos. And so doing everything in private, it just does not feel right. I have felt called and pulled to speak in a public forum. And through all these years, I've had to find the way that can work for me. And the reality is, it's this raw, off the cusp, natural way. It's my zone of genius. And so, yeah. So anyways, I'm excited. I appreciate everybody popping on here today and saying hello, giving some encouraging words. It really does mean a lot. It really does. As much as speaking like this can be, therapeutic in and of itself for me, I'm not doing it just for me. I'm doing it for you. And I want your life to, in the last few years, I've made some of the least money that I've made in a decade plus. But outside of the fact that professionally speaking, there's been some frustration around some things. Um, and I can get into that. I got into some of it on here, but like the big picture of my whole life and my daily routine, I've been really, 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 really happy. It's been really enjoyable. I've just felt called to share and serve more, and I know that I haven't been doing much of that publicly. And the best way for me to do it is to speak. It's not to write. It's not, although some of my writings people enjoy. It's not to write. It's not to just share quotes. It's not to regurgitate other people's things. It's for me to get on and do what I did today. And then outside of that, it's to work with individuals. And that's why I think this Hope method, help one person every day, hear 5 to 8 minutes, and send them a personalized, private, a personalized audio back. My response won't be private. Their response, their recording will be. I think will be a great way for me to serve people on a broader level, that I can encourage, that I can support, whilst also planting a lot of seeds of hope and encouragement into a lot of individuals. I would have rather in the next decade individually sent 10,000 10 or 20-minute audios to people, um, than get millions of views of people that I would have never heard their voice, I've never heard their story, and I would never have interacted with them personally. I'd rather get millions of views having first interacted and supported an individual and have millions of people hear that. That would be, I love somebody named Abraham Hicks. I got to meet her a few years ago. And there are literally tens of thousands of her videos online on YouTube for free. And they're all about 15 minutes or less. 99% of it is derived from her sitting at a live workshop with an individual and that person speaking and her being sparked by what they say to say what she says. And that's how I want to create content moving forward. Not just get on here and just randomly speak all over the place. That's fine and dandy. But rather first have it be sparked. What I'm saying is sparked from an individual's story and their life. And what I'm saying is for them, and other people will, I guarantee, be able to relate, but it's first for someone, not for everyone. And so I'm excited. Now it's just a matter of showing up and doing these, and then doing the little bit that I can have that in place so people can go to a page and they can record that. It works right now. It's just not, it's the videos. When you click play on that little video, the thing that's on the screen right now, when you go to it, where's it at? When you go to that video ask thing, the two videos, you can see me being goofy. So, and they only go for 10 seconds. So, it was a test. So you can't record your full story actually yet, but you can test it out if you want to say hello, or if you want to use it today, that'd be really cool. For those of you on here, that link, the videos don't make any sense necessarily, but you can go on there, 10 seconds, you'll get a total of 20. I would just love to hear something kind from you. If you want to say something nice, I would love to hear a little small message of gratitude. Like I said, you'll get 20 seconds in total from that link that's on the page. That's the link I plan to use to start creating these hope messages. And, but yeah, so that's the story right now. So I just got a few things set up, and let's just promote and be consistent. But, I could do this for decades. Some of you may have saw a page that I set up, that I had this long and short one, and some of this other stuff. And there's so many things that I know, like, I won't do indefinitely. I won't do consistently. I can do this. I can help someone, because I've already been proven to myself. I've done the private Voxer work for 5 straight years, a few hours a day. So now it's just getting back to a consistent basis to be able to do it publicly so others can benefit. So grateful for all of you. If you want to go to that link and leave a kind message and say hello, that'd be super awesome. And if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to reach out, send me a private message. I'd love to hear from you and see how I can help. And if you'd like to work with me on a private basis, we can explore what that would look like. There's no hard sells. There's no pressure. There's no force. I'll be here when you're ready. I'm not going anywhere from that aspect. Just how I freaking market and promote is about the only thing that I'm playing with. But I've worked privately with people for 5 years in Voxer, and it's been game changer in people's lives. I'll help you find your way and help you bring back your joy. So rock and roll. Have an incredible day. Sending tons of love. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.